Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about trigonometry, which is such a big topic in Math 2 and Math 3. So what exactly is trigonometry? It is the study of triangle measurement, and I'm just going to abbreviate triangle measurement. Okay, so we're just going to review mainly the Math 2 stuff of what are these triangle ratios, the trigonometric ratios of sine, cosine, and tangent. So sine, let's start with sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So if we look at our triangle over here and we're looking at the sine of A, the opposite side is little a over my hypotenuse is C. So then I'm going to erase that. If we go to the sine of B, opposite of B is little b over my hypotenuse is C. Alright, now cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So if we start back at angle A, adjacent is the side that's next to. So that means that this one would be B over my hypotenuse of C. And then again, now we're going to go to angle B. The side next to angle B is side A over C. Notice that these two have just flipped. And lastly, we have tangent, which is opposite over adjacent. So let's start back at angle A. Opposite of A is little a over adjacent, the side next to, is angle B. We're going to do the same thing here with angle B. Opposite of B is little b over adjacent is A. And notice those have just flipped. So you might remember, the easiest way to remember this is kind of an acronym. It's called SOHCAHTOA. Make sure you spell it right, or it doesn't really help. So sine, which is the S, is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is the C, is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is the T, is opposite over adjacent. So we're going to do a little bit of practice with this on the odds again. So sine of A, we're going to start with angle A right here, is opposite over hypotenuse. So first we have to look at what is opposite of A. Opposite of A is going to be 5 over my hypotenuse, which is 13. Cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse, so adjacent is 12 over my hypotenuse is 13. And finally, tangent, opposite over adjacent. Opposite is 5 over adjacent is 12. Alright, so next we're going to go to angle C. Get a different color. So sine of C is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine of C is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then tangent of C is opposite over adjacent. Alright, let's go to number 3. Now notice in number 3 we only have 2 sides that are given to us, so we're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. Notice that 34 is your hypotenuse, so I'm going to set it up as x squared plus 16 squared equals 34 squared. Okay, so 16 squared, when I do that in my calculator, I get 256. And 34 squared is 1156. Subtract that. X squared equals 900. 900. Take the square root. And then x is going to equal 30. So that's going to be my side length there. Alright, so sine of L. So I'm going to start up here at angle L. So opposite is 30 over my hypotenuse is 34. Cosine of L, adjacent, is 16 over my hypotenuse is still 34. Tangent of L, so opposite over adjacent. Opposite is 30 over adjacent is 16. Next, I'm going to look at angle M. So opposite is 16 over hypotenuse is 34. Notice your sine and your cosine will just switch right here. All right, so cosine of M is adjacent 30 over hypotenuse 34. And tangent of M is opposite 16 over adjacent is 30. And again, 30 over 16 flips to 16 over 30. All right, so now we're going to do some calculations with your calculator. So finding the missing side. So on number 1, you have to be able to recognize which two sides are given to you. So you have an angle right here. 19 is my hypotenuse, and in terms of the 28, x is opposite because it doesn't touch. So if I have opposite and hypotenuse, I have to figure out which of my 3 trig ratios am I going to use, and that's going to be sine. So sine of 28 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. So you have to put it in the right order. Equals x over 19. All right, so notice this part right here. It says make sure your calculator's in degree mode. So how you do that is you press mode on your calculator and then scroll over where it says radian and degree and make sure degree is highlighted. All right, so you're going to type in sine of 28 in your calculator and hit enter. And it will be 0.47 equals x over 19. All right, now this is x divided by 19, so in order to get rid of division, we're going to just hit times 19. Remember, don't retype that 0.47, just hit times 19 in your calculator, and we get x equals 8.92. And that's it. Next one, 21 degrees. We have to figure out, first of all, which two sides I have. 26 is my hypotenuse, and since this guy is next to it, that's my adjacent. So adjacent hypotenuse, I'm going to use cosine. Cosine of 21 equals x over 26. So same process, but I'm going to type cosine of 21. So 0.93 equals x over 26. Don't retype that 0.93, just hit times 26 in your calculator, and I get x equals 24.27. All right, next one. All right, so I have opposite and hypotenuse, so I'm going to use sine here. So sine of 33 equals 15 over x. So notice opposite is 15 and my hypotenuse is x. So this time my x is at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit trickier, but it's okay. All right, so sine of 33, I'm going to go ahead and type that in my calculator. Okay, so I get 0.54 equals 15 over x. Now, we know how to solve this. If I'm dividing by x, then I'm going to multiply by x. So I get 0.54 x equals 15. All right, so I have one more step left, and that's to solve for x. So this is just a one-step equation here. I'm going to have to divide both sides by 0.54. But remember, in your calculator, you don't want to retype that 0.54. Either do that second negative or just scroll up in your calculator. So 15 divided by it's 0.54639.035. And you should get x equals 27.54. Okay, so a couple extra steps if x is on the bottom. All right, 2 more. All right, so here I have opposite, because this guy doesn't touch, and adjacent. So here I'm going to use tangent. So tangent of 72 degrees equals 25 over x. So this is going to be another one where I'm going to have a couple steps. So first I'm going to type tangent of 72 in my calculator, and I get 3.08. It was 3.077, but that's going to round up to 3.08. equals 25 over x. Now, since I'm dividing by x, I'm going to multiply by x. So then my last step is I have to divide both sides by 3.08. And again, I don't want to retype that 3.08. I just want to use whatever that tangent of 72 was on my calculator. So that really that 3.077 blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to get x equals, I'm going to go over here a little bit, 8.12. Okay. All right, last one. I'm going to actually get rid of a little bit there so we can see it. All right, Jake leaned a 12-foot ladder against his house. If the angle formed by the ladder and the ground is 68 degrees, how far from the base of the house did he place the ladder? All right, so let's draw a picture. You should always draw a picture. So it says a 12-foot ladder is leaned against the house. So that means my ladder is 12 feet and the angle formed is 68 degrees. And we want to know how far from the base of the house did he place the ladder. So that's going to be my x. So we have to identify what we're talking about. So this is the hypotenuse, and since that's touching, that's the adjacent. So therefore, I'm dealing with cosine. Cosine of 68 equals x over 12. So this one's going to be pretty straightforward. Cosine of 68 is 0.37. And then I'm just going to hit times 12 in my calculator. And I get 4.495. So 4.495 is going to round up to 4.5 feet. And that's it for trig ratios.